RBT family, what's the deal? It's your dog Willie Jack, and we are back, baby, back with more NFL action. How is everybody doing? How you feeling? How you doing? How you feeling? It is NFL Championship weekend. This is the NFL's Final Four. We are here, two guys today to decide who is going to be appearing in this year's Super Bowl. I cannot wait. Super excited. You know what I mean? My boys ain't in it. It's all good. It's all good. We not in there. But, man, I can't wait to see good football today, man. And that's all I can ask for, and that's all I want. And I definitely am excited because I know that's what we're going to get. We got two fantastic matchups. I think both teams, and I think I may have said it last week, both the teams in each conference that are left on the whole, I think these are probably the four strongest teams in the league. And I think they've really shown that throughout the course of this season. The Broncos and the Patriots, I think, really kind of set themselves apart in the AFC for the majority of the season for sure. And then in that same vein, in the NFC, I think the Seahawks and Rams were also two of the strongest and most consistent teams throughout the course of the year. And so I really feel like we've got probably the four strongest teams left in the tourney. And so this Super Bowl is really going to be good on good, best on best, regardless of either matchup. I think we're going to get the best that each conference really had to offer. So, man, I'm excited. I'm excited, and I can't wait for sure. Then also, we've had some news. The coaching carousel is still turning. Of course, my team, my dog, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have hired our fourth head coach since 1969. We've hired our fourth head coach in almost 60 years, and in a very surprising move, and honestly, quite frankly, a fairly unpopular move, if I'm being honest, just the temperature of the fan base. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of this part of the country's regional president of Steelers operations, right? Your dog, you know what I'm saying? Highest ranking member, you feel me, of Steeler Nation around here. You know, it was a lot of discourse, all right, in the community, and there's not a lot of people who are a fan of the hire. And of course, I'm talking about my Steelers' decision to hire Mike McCarthy, former head coach of the Green Bay Packers, former head coach most recently of the Dallas Cowboys, and now, of course, as of news that broke yesterday, expected to be the fourth head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers since 1969. Slow clap. Round of applause for Mike McCarthy, all right? Because I'm a company guy, all right? It's Big Steeler Nation, man. I'm a company guy. It is what it is. That's my coach now. I'm a fall in line, man. I'm a fall in line. I'm going to do my part. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Now, I do have some like at first, of course, it wasn't the decision that I expected, for one, because it just bucks the trend that the Steelers have established over these last almost 60 years of us hiring head coaches, right? We've had an established pattern or modus of operandi, right? We've had a very established operating procedure in regard to hiring our head coaches. And the proof's in the pudding. It works. We've been 3 for 3. The Steelers are 3 for 3 on Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame head coaches. 3 for 3 since the 60s. All right. So if it ain't broke, Art Rooney, we didn't have to fix it, man. That's my only thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We had a system. Young, first-time head coach. Coach in his 30s, early to mid-30s. Prior defensive coordinator. That's it. That's all. Those are the three. That's it. There's 3 amigos on this show. There was 3 criterias to be the Steelers head coach. A first-time head coach, a defensive coach, young coach. Pow. Mike McCarthy is 0 for 3. Mike McCarthy's 0 for 3. Chuck Noll, right? Chuck Noll, forefather, you know what I'm saying? The godfather of this Steelers championship, of the Steelers championship history, right? Chuck Noll. He was a 35-year-old defensive coordinator under, mind you, he was a defensive coordinator under Don Shula. And I think the year before we hired Chuck Noll, Don Shula and I'm assuming it had to be the Dolphins. They had just lost in the NFL championship against the New York Giants, I want to say. Against the New York Giants, or it may have been the Baltimore Colts. Forgive me, right? I ain't going to pretend to know what happened in 1967, right? But Chuck Noll, then after that season, he became the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach at age 35. He was the coach for about 23, almost a quarter century, 4 Super Bowls later. Then, right, we get into the 90s. Time for Chuck Noll to pass that torch. What do? Go back to the formula, all right? Tried and true. First-time head coach, young coach in his 30s, defensive coach. Know who hit all 3 of those marks? Bill Cowher, defensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs. 34, 35 years old, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, first-time head coach. Come on in here, Bill. You know what happened? Success, all right? Because if it ain't broke, you don't fix it, all right? What was it, 15 years for Bill Cowher, 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl victory, right? Tried and true method. Walked away. Then, lucky number 3, Mike Tomlin. It's your turn to enter the chat. All right? We went back to the well. All right? Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. What do all 3 have in common? Let me tell you, in case you ain't picked up on the pattern. Young, 34 years old when he got this job, 34, 35. First-time head coach, right? Speaks for itself. Prior defensive coordinator, Mike Tomlin, defensive coordinator from the Minnesota Vikings the year before he took the Pittsburgh Steelers job, right? 19 years later, tied the franchise record in wins with the great and vaunted Chuck Noll at 193 in 4 less years, right? 2 Super Bowl appearances, same as his predecessor, Bill Cowher, won one of those appearances, all right? Steps down, resigns, steps away. So now here we are, back at the well, and I'm going to keep saying it because Art Rooney need to hear me on this. He ain't taking my calls right now, and I can understand because I'm a little upset. It's all good, Art. You know what I mean? It's all good. We still family, baby. It's still a nation. But we had a tried and true method. 3 for 3, Super Bowl winners, Hall of Fame coaches. If it wasn't broke, we didn't need to fix it. Mike McCarthy's 62. He's twice the... Mike McCarthy is more than twice the age of the average age of the last 3 coaches who took this job. All right? And I'm not trying to be ageist, right? I'm not saying that he can't be the coach just because he's older. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we had a method. There was a method, a proven method to the madness. He's 62. He's twice the age of the guys that took this job before him. All right. Offensive coach, right? Never had one of those. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, defensive coaches, young defensive guys. Mike McCarthy spent his 25 years in this league on offense. That's okay because I'm not mad at that. Maybe it was time for a change, and I know we were, and I'll talk about it a little bit, but we had talked about exploring an offensive sided coach. We were interested in the passing game coordinator from the Rams, Nate Steelhouse is what I'm calling him. Steelhouse, right? Offensive guy, young guy, very young guy, offensive guy. He was in high contention by all accounts, right, for us. So maybe changing it up. The offense has been pretty stale for this last decade or so, right? And so I can see how maybe we would want to go look or lean into maybe the offensive side. So I'm not mad at that. First-time head coach. But no, Mike McCarthy's had 2 prior stints already for sure. You see what I'm saying? So he broke the mold on all 3 of those prerequisites that had made the organization as successful as it's been for 60 years, right? And so, like I said, needless to say, it raised more than a few eyebrows, right, when Mike McCarthy got announced for the job. Now, my first initial reaction was just like, why? How? Right? But then I've had time to process, right? I've had time to sit back and objectively think about it. And I do see, I can see an avenue for how we came about here. So first off, and not to say that this is what's got him the job, but it is just still, it's one of those things where it doesn't mean that it helped you, but it damn sure didn't hurt you. Mike McCarthy's a Pittsburgh boy. Like, he's a hometown kid. And I had forgot that about Mike McCarthy, honestly. I did know that. I had forgot that about Mike McCarthy. He's homegrown Pittsburgh through and through. His daddy was a police officer and a firefighter for Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? His daddy had a bar. You know what I mean? He grew up on Sundays cleaning up around his daddy's bar full of drunk Steelers fans, kicking it every weekend. You know what I'm saying? So he's a homegrown Pittsburgh boy. You know what I mean? Which is, that's something like I said, not to say that it helps you more than anything else, but it damn sure don't hurt. And then also keeping in mind where we are as far as the team and its construction and its outlook for the future, right? We've got Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback right now, for better or for worse, right? The reviews on Aaron this past season were a little mixed, right? But it's trending more likely than not that we as an organization are probably going to be more apt to try to bring Aaron Rodgers back than not. There's not a good crop of quarterbacks in this upcoming draft. And then also, we're picking toward the bottom third of the draft per usual. So it's hard to get a quality quarterback in the draft when you're picking down there anyway. See Kenny Pickett, right? As a reminder of what happens when you try to draft quarterbacks in the 20s and in a weak class. So this is a very weak class. There's one clear-cut guy at the top, Fernando Mendoza. He's going number one. Outside of Fernando Mendoza, crapshoot. I don't know if there's going to be another quarterback drafted before round 3, realistically, because even as desperate as teams are, the Jets, my Steelers, there's just not a guy there. So there's no reinforcements to look forward to in the draft. The free agent market, this isn't a great free agent quarterback market either, right? The top name is probably going to be Malik Willis, the guy we should have drafted when we drafted Kenny Pickett. And if truth be told, the guy Mike Tomlin wanted. But these are things that we don't talk about in the public, man. We just talk about the Mike Tomlin and the shortcomings of the team, and we don't talk about, you know what I mean? We don't talk about the meal we asked him to make, and he didn't get to shop for his own groceries. Don't nobody talk about that. Mike Tomlin wanted Malik Willis. Kevin Colbert went and got Kenny Pickett on his way out the door. It is what it is, right? But he's going to be probably the most sought after name. And so, hold on, now my focus. There we go. And so, looking at Malik Willis, I do think he's super talented. I think going to Green Bay, flaming out in Tennessee, Vrabel didn't want him. Flaming out in Tennessee, going to Green Bay was the best thing happened for him. And shout out and kudos. I see my dog Chop that got it here. Matt LaFleur has really helped bring out the raw potential that guys like myself or guys that were fans of Malik Willis coming into the draft, things that we saw, his best case scenario, like we're seeing it. We've seen it, right? And that's the thing to no smart part to Matt LaFleur. So Matt LaFleur did a lot of that heavy lifting, right? And so he's going to be the top true free agent for this market, which means he's going to be very valuable. Keep in mind, Justin Fields, we lost a bidding war last season to the Jets for Justin Fields, and Justin Fields got 2 years, $40 million. He ain't showed, he doesn't look as appealing as Malik Willis looks coming off the 3 performances we saw this year over the Rams, or excuse me, the game against the Ravens, and he had two other fantastic starts, right? Man's going to get cashed out. So I don't know if we're in on that. I don't know the team and where we are right now and going to bring him in, new system, new coach. I don't know if we're in right now. So I think it's probably more realistic that we try to run it back with Aaron if Aaron still wants to play. Now, Aaron still may take his time because Aaron was trying to get to Minnesota last year. He took his time trying to get to Minnesota, and they, for better or worse for their own organization, Kevin O'Connell, they wanted to ride with the young gun J.J. McCarthy. Well, we see how that panned out. They may not be so apt to do that again this year. So Aaron may very well have a backdoor chance there. I don't know. But the point is, our options are going to be limited. Outside of Malik Willis, Kyler Murray doesn't really fit our program. You know what I mean? He doesn't really fit our program. I don't see that being a move that we would want to make. Jacoby Brissett, Tua tag your mama. We ain't going to get Tua for that $55 million price tag. You know what I mean? So the pickings are going to be slim at the quarterback position. So I think best case scenario for us is convincing Aaron to run it back one more year with us. So if that's going to be the case, Aaron at age 42 this past year, so going into next year, he's going to be 43. Are we going to bring in a new coach and a new system at 43 now, again, to try to start over and run it fresh? We just went through that this year with Aaron. And it took a while to kind of get some semblance of familiarity or comfortability in the system, as limited as it was. And so what Mike McCarthy accomplishes is twofold. He is a guy that, of course, with his offensive background, he's a hands-on quarterbacks coach. We forget, Aaron Rodgers developed under Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is the coach that pulled the plug on Brett Favre and brought Aaron Rodgers to us. That was Mike McCarthy, and they had success. Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time MVP. 3 of those under Mike McCarthy. Don't forget. No, wait, forgive me. Maybe 2 of those. I think he might have got 2 with LaFleur, so forgive me if I may be wrong. But I think the first 2 of those under Mike McCarthy. Super Bowl champion under Mike McCarthy. Now, of course, where there's smoke, there's probably fire. There was some discourse back at that time as to, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers bumping heads, changing philosophies. Aaron Rodgers wanted to be more involved in the greater schematics of the team, personnel, things like this. And there's rumors of friction behind the scenes that ultimately ended up in Mike McCarthy leaving as head coach of the Packers and then becoming head coach of the Cowboys, right? And so, whatever, we'll see. But the point being, they do have history. They do have a successful history. And Mike McCarthy coming in, right? That's Aaron's home. That's Aaron's first language. That's the first NFL language that Aaron Rodgers learned to speak was Mike McCarthy football. And so I can see how that starts to make sense. Now, another thing as well, because one thing about Pittsburgh, that reason why it is such a intriguing and attractive job is that it's the most secure job in the NFL. And that's proven. He's our 4th coach in 60 years. There is no better job security than the Pittsburgh Steelers, for better or for worse. For better or for worse, right? And so Mike McCarthy being 62, I don't see us being tied. I think, and I don't know if the details have been released as far as the contract details. Generally speaking, head coach contracts are generally 5 years, right? And so I would imagine Mike Maye got a 5-year contract, and I think I don't he's not going to be as tenured as the previous 3 coaches we've seen, right? Now, of course, a function that is going to be he's already 62. You know what I'm saying? But I do think in this phase of where we are as a team, and then also keep in mind, we've got some older, established, longtime veterans on our roster. And the way Pittsburgh operates, for the most part, we try to do right by our own, sometimes for better or worse. We held on to Ben for an extra 2-3 seasons. We held on to Troy for an extra season. You know what I mean? We held on to Jerome Bettis. We held on to Butts for an extra 2 seasons. You see what I'm saying? And so we've got guys like Cam Hayward. We've got a guy like TJ Watt, right? We've got older, established, and these are Ring of Honor guys. These guys aren't here for any type of teardown. And Pittsburgh's probably been overdue for one for the past decade. But that's just not how we operate. So, and I think ownership came out of this when Mike Tomlin first came out, or when Mike Tomlin first stepped down. Art Rooney in his press conference, he came out and said, man, look, we try to win every year, for better or for worse. It is never a goal for us to draft in the top 5. We just don't operate like that. Maybe it shakes out like that, but the plan is for us to go out there and do everything we can to give ourselves a shot. So we're not tearing it down. So Mike McCarthy also speaks to that. He's an older coach coming in to run an older, veteran-led team. And for better or for worse, you know what I'm saying? We're going to take one more swing at it, man. We're going to run it back with old man Aaron Rodgers. We're going to run it back with old man Cam Hayward. We're going to run it back with older man TJ Watt. TJ Watt's body's giving out on him, man. He's only 32. His body's giving out on him a little bit. Now, I want to see him change his body in the offseason. I think I might have talked about this with my dog Tom some months ago. I think TJ's playing a little heavy, man. I think he's playing a little heavy. I think as he gets older, your joints and everything, these things start to wear down. You lose that initial burst and step. You can't play at 260 no more, bro. Thin it out a little bit. I think I've seen Bruce. I remember Bruce Smith talking about that when longtime Buffalo Bills great, right? He's like, man, the older, and Michael Strahan talked about it as well. Like the older you get, the lighter you should get. You know what I mean? And so I think TJ, I would love to see TJ back around 245. But that's getting off topic. But my point being is that when I look at the full context of where the team is, how the roster is constructed, what the likely outlook for the team is in this short time frame, right? Because we are going to bring in a young quarterback. We've got a young quarterback on the roster now, Will Howard. Now, depending on what you think, what you feel about Will Howard, I don't necessarily think that he's a full-fledged diamond in the rough waiting to, be polished up. I don't necessarily see that for him. But Mike McCarthy's a guy who's shown us, like I said, he's a hands-on quarterback guy. He came into this league as a quarterback's coach before he became an offensive coordinator, right? And so he's a guy, Will Howard are on the roster, develop and grow. He can work, he can be hands-on with that. I do expect us to bring in some other style of young quarterback as well, for sure, regardless of the A-Rod situation plays out or not. It's not going to be in the first round, right? It shouldn't be in the first round, mind you. But we are going to bring in some style of young quarterback. And so Mike McCarthy for these next 4 to 5 years, I think is going to be, he's a bridge coach, right? I think he's going to be more or less a bridge coach during this transition as we let the older veterans on our team, as we let those guys kind of ride off into their sunset, Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, right? We're going to let those guys ride out into their sunset. I don't think we're sending them guys to play in nobody else's jersey. You know what I mean? And we're not going to cut them. That's just not our way. So those guys on the roster, ownership's going to do the best they can to at least give these guys a shot to take a swing. And that's exactly what happened this last season with Mike Tomlin. Climb to 10 wins, get in the playoffs, give yourself a chance to take a swing, for better or for worse, right? And so I think that's where we at, man. So now, also, before I move on, I see y'all in here. I know we're ready to talk some football. You know what I mean? I had to use this as an opener. I had to get something off my chest. So I appreciate y'all rocking with you, dog. But one thing y'all would say is that the timing of the decision, because it was no secret, we've been trying to wait on Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for my dog Chops Rams. He's been the guy that we've been really angling for. And then also there was talks about maybe getting a 2-for-1 if we get Chris Shula. Maybe we get him to bring passing game coordinator Steelhouse. Maybe we get him to come over and be our official offensive coordinator. That was what we had been angling for. But Rams are still playing football, man. And if they win next week, then we still can't interview until now, February, after the Super Bowl. So the process was kind of delayed. And so Anthony Weaver was a guy who was really gaining a lot of momentum in the fan base and with myself, man. The more I hear him talk and see what he's about, look at him, man, I was really starting to become a fan of Anthony Weaver. But we don't go there either. He also kind of fit that mold I talked about before. Younger guy. I think he's like 42. He's even older than the last 3 hires, but he was in the early 40s, 42. Defensive coach. He's defensive coordinator this past year or 2 in Miami. First time head coach. So that's the trifecta. Those are the makings of a Steelers coach right there, right? But we don't go their way. We go with Mike McCarthy. And then, like I said, in the greater context of where we are as a team and likely running it back with Aaron Rodgers, right? And that type of familiarity, I think that makes it make a little more sense, right? But I did think, man, if we could have got those Rams boys, if they even without Steelhouse, man, if because he's also got some head coach consideration. I don't know if he's going to get one of those jobs, but even if we wouldn't have got him, but I think Chris Shula would have been a good fit, good fit there for us as well. But now that I got that off my chest, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I see y'all in the chat. Let me see what's going on. First one in the door was Mom Deuce. Happy Sunday, Big Nation family. Have a blessed show. As always, I appreciate you. Let's go. Let's see. Sis in the building, up early. Good morning to the good people. I appreciate you. Oh, there you go. My dog Chop in the building said, you know what time it is? He said, put them horns up. It's go time. We're going to talk about it, Big Dog, for sure. Sis said, what's happening? I see everybody exchanging pleasantries. I appreciate y'all. And let me see my dog, man, favorite coworker in the building, ZB in the thing, man. He said, Willie, you think they brought in McCarthy to get Rodgers back for another year? If somebody could, yeah, hey, I'm telling you, bro. I think that's Matt, I just seen this comment, and so I was talking about that just a moment ago. But I think that's probably what the plan is, dog. Like there's no good quarterback option on the horizon. It's a terrible quarterback draft. This is a terrible quarterback draft, right? And in the free agent market, I don't know if we're gonna want to duke it out over Malik Willis with the teams and suitors that he's sure to have. You know what I mean? Because don't forget, Justin Fields just got 2 for 40 last year. We got outbid for Justin Fields 2 years, $40 million from the Jets. Malik Willis is coming in with a lot more steam and a lot more consistent production, even in a more limited sample size. But he's a much more attractive free agent in this cycle than Justin Fields was in last year's cycle. And Justin got 2 for 40. So worst case, that's an absolute floor for Malik Willis. But I would expect he's going to get some. I think he's going to get north of there. I think his number is going to be somewhere closer to 25. If Justin averaged 2 for 20 last year, I think Malik Willis getting 2 for 50 is not at all out the question. And I'll tell you another thing, because depending on just how desperate this year's quarterback market is because of the scarcity of resources, that 25 may get closer to 30. That 25 may get closer to 30 for Malik Willis, depending on who's all in on him, right? So I would definitely imagine all the teams at the top that we know need quarterbacks, right? That the Raiders are probably going to get Fernando Mendoza with pick number 1, but the Browns don't seem overly attached to Shedeur Sanders, for better or for worse. The Jets, right, are still trying to figure something out. Dante Moore went back to college, so he ain't got to go to New York. Nobody wants to go there. So they'll overpay to get a guy in the building. That's what happened with Justin Fields. They gave Justin another $10 million, and we wouldn't give him. We was trying to give him 2 for 30. The Jets came back and gave him 2 for 40. All right, man, you got it. So they'll pay a premium to get him. The Arizona Cardinals moving on from Kyler Murray, right? And they're looking for a new coach as well. And so, new coach gets in there. He doesn't have a quarterback on the team outside of Jacoby Brissett, respectfully, right? So Malik Willis is going to have a lot of real suitors for his services. And there's a couple more teams we ain't talking about. Right? And so I don't think realistically, man, we're going to get into that kind of bidding war, that pseudo bidding war that looks like it's on the horizon for Malik Willis. And then again, Kyler Murray, he's just not our speed. You know what I mean? Kyler Murray's not our speed. That ain't what we into. We're not trading for Tua. You know what I mean? We definitely not doing that. And so it's a very light market. So honestly, realistically, A-Rod's probably going to be the best option we got for 2026, dog. A-Rod's probably going to be the best option we got, man. And if it's going to be A-Rod, then yeah, I can absolutely see why McCarthy even makes more sense now. Because I don't want to have to ask 43-year-old A-Rod to learn his second system in 2 back-to-back years. Like, nah, that's a hard ass. That's a tough ass, right? And so I think it does make a little more sense when I look at it in that style of context. Oh, Chop, is that official? Jonathan Gannon's the DC of the Packers? If that's so, then that's a damn good hire. I like that move as well. Because Jonathan Gannon's Eagles defense was that last great. Well, no, that defense has came back around with Vic Fangio. But before they finally found their footing with Vic Fangio, now that first Super Bowl run, that was John Gannon's defense, and them boys is nasty, mean. They led the league in sacks under Jonathan Gannon. I think that's the year they threatened the NFL's total team sack record. That was under Jonathan Gannon. So if he's the DC in Green Bay, that's a hell of a hire. Hell yeah. Micah coming back off an injury next year, right? Rashawn Gary's still in there. Rashawn Gary's a nice compliment. Robin, you know what I mean? Yeah, they got some young linebackers that can fly. Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, if he's still gonna be there. That secondary with Xavier McKinney, real ball hawk. Hey, yeah, that Packers defense has got some pieces. So if Jonathan Gannon is the new DC in Green Bay, I love that. Yeah, I do. I like that as well. Yeah, that's a hell of a hire. Yeah. Ooh, that's a damn good hire. That's a damn good hire. And honestly, Jeff Hafley, the DC who just left Green Bay to be the head coach of the Dolphins, I was very underwhelmed with his. Like, I don't understand where he got all this, because he came in, he was like an industry plant. He just showed up like this fantastic hotshot candidate out of Boston College. Like, what did he do at Boston College to get his name, to get so much recognition on his name before he came and was the Packers coach? Then that Packers defense last year wasn't special. I didn't see I didn't recognize anything schematically that set him apart and what he brought to that defense outside of Michael Parsons just making plays before he got hurt. But so I don't know, man. Jonathan Gannon is definitely an upgrade for that defense over Jeff Hafley for sure. And they've got pieces to be nasty. So now that's great. Hey, that's great news for my boy Jordan Love. I'm telling you right now, Chop. That's fantastic news for Jordan Love. Yeah, Tucker Kraft gonna come back. We probably got to get younger in that running back room. You know what I mean? And shout out to Josh Jacobs, because I like Josh Jacobs. I respect him. I fool with him. He a real one. But man, them legs is getting old, man. Them legs is wearing down. He's injured, beat up. I think he probably missed more time than he played this year, man. So, you know, they got to do some retooling, a little bit of retooling. And yeah, Jordan Love is on the precipice, man. I'm telling y'all, Jordan Love is on the precipice of taking over this league. I mean, hey, look, man, I'm just letting you know, man. Jordan Love ain't far off from being the real dude around here, man. I'm telling y'all. Chop know I ain't lying. Chop know I've been on that. I'm telling y'all. Jonathan Gannon might be just the piece they need, man. Jonathan Gannon solidifying and getting that defense together. Young Michael Parsons, they got 4 more years of prime Michael Parsons on that defense. Shit. Boy, I'm gonna tell you right now, Packers gonna be in this. Packers should be in 2 of the next 5 Super Bowls. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's a damn good ad. Oh, and they did bring over Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, they did. Oh, they got some real hawks now, boy. Because Xavier McKinney's a ball hawk. I like Xavier McKinney with the Giants. And then he came over to the Packers 2 years ago, led the league in interceptions. Or I think he ended up finishing tied in the league with interceptions with Kelvin Joseph in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. And so now you break over Trayvon Diggs. If Trayvon Diggs don't do nothing else, he could turn the ball over. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got some real hawks in that defense, boy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a damn good move. That's a damn good hire. Damn, Jonathan Gannon. Damn. That's a damn good hire, boy. Yeah, these Packers finna be nasty, boy. Chop. Yo, Rams in that NFC West, y'all finna have some smoke, man. It's finna be some smoke in that NFC for sure. For sure. I'm telling you. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Yeah, see, look, now I'm excited. Now I'm excited. I'm always excited to think about next year now. Here we go. But no, y'all know what we came to do. Y'all know why we here. We got championship football to talk about, man. Now, the first game is the AFC Championship game, so we'll go ahead and dive into it. Number 2, New England, on the road against the number 1 seeded Denver Broncos. Give me Drake Maye, the young gun himself, MVP of this league if you're talking to your dog. Give me Drake Maye on the road to outduel Jarrett Stidham in Denver. I'm going 27-23. Now, here's the thing about this game. I'm taking the young gun for sure. I'm taking Drake Maye. I know what time it is. But I do expect Jarrett Stidham to be viable in this game. I really do. Sean Payton in that offense and the way he's able to schematically give advantages to his quarterbacks from the get-go. From his time under Bill Parcells in Dallas to revamping and rejuvenating and making and getting Drew Brees to be the guy that we remember him as now. Because the Drew Brees in San Diego that lost his job to Phillip Rivers, injury or not, that's not the guy we saw in New Orleans, right? Hell, I saw him get Taysom Hill paid $20 million as a backup third string quarterback that could make something happen. So I have no doubt that Jarrett Stidham and Sean Payton, Sean been in that lab. Bo Nix broke his ankle the second to last play in that game, and Sean Payton ain't went to sleep yet. Sean Payton been in the lab. The Broncos is gonna move the ball. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that Jarrett Stidham is going to be viable. And I'll tell you the truth, because Bo Nix, and it's not to be a slight, but Bo Nix, the age-old Cam Newton been under a lot of fire for this whole game manager and game changer talk, but it doesn't necessarily have to be derogatory when we say somebody's a game manager. Even though it has that context, it doesn't necessarily have to be derogatory. Now, Bo Nix is a bigger, faster, stronger Jarrett Stidham, but Bo Nix is also a bigger, faster, stronger Brock Purdy. And y'all know I rock with Brock Purdy because I can respect him for what he is. He's viable. And he's shown that he can wiggle. Bo Nix has that type of energy as well. Now, the thing about it is, when you are a game manager and you can thrive when placed into advantageous situation, right? Because that's all it means. It means when placed in advantageous situation, you can thrive. That was Tom Brady for the first 12 years of his career. That's Brock Purdy right now. That's Tua Tagovailoa when Mike McDaniel was the hottest thing since sliced bread, right? That's Bo Nix right now. Because I can't drop Bo Nix everywhere, but I drop him in there with Bo. I drop him in there with Sean Payton. That's the number one seed in the AFC, 14-3, right? And so Jarrett Stidham he's a Diet Coke Bo Nix, essentially. He's a failed Bo Nix. When he came into the league, they both came from Auburn. Well, before Bo Nix went to Oregon, he was at Auburn. That's a weird tie. But yeah, they've got similar builds, similar size, similar play style, right? They like a more athletic than you probably give him credit for. Now, Bo Nix is a better athlete than Stidham, but Stidham was a decent enough athlete coming in, right? One of those guys that we love to say sneaky athlete. We only say that about the white quarterbacks, but it's true. Sneaky athlete. You know what I mean? Now, Bo Nix ain't sneaky. Bo Nix is an athlete. But honestly, there's a lot of similarities in their game and in their play style. And still right there with Sean Payton. And he's a veteran. He's 27 years old. You know what I mean? So I definitely think the Broncos offense is going to be viable. But the difference is going to be moving the ball versus scoring the ball. Touchdowns versus field goals. Playoffs always come down to two things. Which defense shows up? Because defense is travel. So which defense shows up and who gets threes and who gets sevens? That's playoff football. Right there, in a nutshell. And somebody's got to run the ball. Whose defense shows up? Who can be the more consistent team running the ball? And who gets threes versus who gets sevens? So I don't know how many sevens Jarrett Stidham's going to get me. For all the schematics and all the openings, all the things that Sean Payton's going to do to make him viable, and I absolutely expect him to move the ball. I really do. But when the game gets tight, when the field gets short, when we get into that red zone, when we get to those scoring opportunities, threes instead of sevens, that's where I give the advantage to Drizzy, Drake Maye, and the Patriots. Right? And so I don't doubt that they'll move the ball between the 20s. I'm talking about Jarrett Stidham in that Broncos offense, but in that when we get into the paint, I don't know. That's what gives me pause. Now, also, that Patriots defense has came alive these last couple weeks. That Patriots defense has woken up these last couple weeks. They're playing fast and aggressive football, right? Now, also, shout out to my dog Tom. I seen you get in here. Shout out to my dog Tom. But that Patriots defense, now I don't know if they're necessarily as good or as dominant as they looked against the Texans, but CJ Stroud averaging 5 turnovers a game in the playoffs, maybe it did help make them look a little better than maybe they are. I don't know if they're that damn good, but they are playing well. And so I think this Patriots team feels to be the team that's peaking at the right time on both sides of the ball. I just seen Keyshawn Butte go up and get his buckets against Derek Stingley Jr. Arguably the best corner in football, right? Him, Patrick Surtain. There's 2-3 names that we put in that ring these days, right? I seen him go get his buckets against Derek Stingley Jr. Now, Patrick Surtain is the other. It's almost like a Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I'm going to make that comparison for those two style of receivers. Both of them at the top of the game. One of them does it with more raw athleticism and explosiveness, right? That's Derek Stingley. And then one of them does it with more savvy, technician. You know what I mean? Like just like that side of the game. That's Justin Jefferson and that's Patrick Surtain in my mind, right? So Keyshawn Butte just went and got his buckets against Derek Stingley. And so now he's going to duke it out with Patrick Surtain. But the fact that he's viable, he went 3 for 75 on a touchdown with Derek Stingley in his hip pocket. You know what I mean? And cashed in. So he's shown that we got to have to respect him. And then we still got the veteran. We still got OG Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? Riley Moss, what Riley Moss going to do besides get picked on with Stephon Diggs? Riley Moss was getting picked on for 17 weeks this season. And he done got away with a couple. So I like that advantage, right? So I think if between Diggs and Butte, right, somebody's got to keep Patrick Surtain honest. And if Keyshawn Butte is able to do what he did last week against the Texans, if he's able to hit 2 big ones, cash one in, that might be all we need. That might be all they need. Because then that keeps Surtain on him, and that keeps Riley Moss on Stephon Diggs. So I like that. And I like the running game in the Patriots better as well, man. You got the explosiveness of Trayvon Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson, he's been running the ball a lot better. He hasn't been coughing the ball up. He's got the fumblies, right? That hasn't been an issue of late. So I think they've got the better, more consistent run game as well, especially with Bo Nix being now as valuable and as threatening as he is in that run game. Jarrett Stidham is athletic and he can move, but that's still a downgrade from what you get from Bo Nix. I know there was talk that J.K. Dobbins was going to be able to maybe come back. And I don't know if they finalized that. I don't know if anybody is aware. I know there was talks about J.K. Dobbins coming back off of IR and maybe having a chance to suit up in this one. And so I'm not sure if that ever happened or not. But the point being is that, and I was a big R.J. Harvey fan. R.J. Harvey, honestly, R.J. Harvey out of UCF, he might have been my RB. No, I think he was my RB2 behind Genty. I liked him better than Amari and Hampton. I liked him better than Trayvon Henderson. I liked him better than the other Ohio State kid, Quinshon Judkins in Cleveland. I was a big R.J. Harvey fan, so I like R.J. Harvey a lot. He ain't shown me in his time starting like he hasn't established himself as the style of threat just yet that we've seen Trayvon Henderson can be, and that we've seen the Ramondre Stevenson when he's playing his best ball as he could be. So I really like the mix of this young, kind of unheralded Patriots team led by the young MVP Drizzy Drake Maye. I like what they got going on. Now, the other part of that, though, bigger than just Patrick Surtain, that Broncos defense is the truth. Zach Allen is a stud on that defensive line. Nick Benito is a stud at the edge rusher. His other edge rusher, his partner in crime, Jonathan Cooper. Shout out to my dog Cooper. He's solid as well. Like they got some guys over there. They got my dog Chop, homeboy, Tyler Noah, who found you. Tyler Noah, who found you from San Francisco. He back there and he smacking. Boy, he laying wood too, boy. Y'all seen that Buffalo game? He laying wood. Man. You know what I mean? So they've got some real pieces on that defense. But the thing about that is, I don't feel better about the Broncos defense than I did the Texans. And so now it was in their building instead of on the road. But Drizzy Drake Maye showed me, man, he can duke it out in a heavyweight fight. He just went toe-to-toe with probably the best defense in football. Houston Texans. He went toe-to-toe and cashed in. So this ain't it. So I don't know, man. I think I really like what I'm seeing from the young guy, man. And then my dog Chopper here, man, he know how I rock. He know I'm a big Vrabel guy anyway. From Tennessee. Vrabel was a top 5-8 coach for me in the league in his time at Tennessee. You know what I mean? So I'm a big Vrabel fan anyway. So I really, and I hate that it's the Patriots. I got a pseudo cheer for they punk asses. They owe me 2 rings. But I can't lie, man. I like what I see from them. I like what they got going on. There my dog Tom, man. He said ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed but this weather. Texans are still going to the Super Bowl. Shout out to my dog. Let me see. My dog Chop said he got the Broncos with the win today. Trying to throw and be in your right mind after running in Mile High Stadium will be different. I do think the Broncos are a live dog in this because, like I said, man, Sean Payton is the mad scientist, and he's going to put them in position to win. But that offense really is bolstered by the athleticism of Bo Nix. And then also keep in mind, Bo Nix is one of the better pressure players at the position in the league. Like, Bo Nix in the fourth quarter is that's third quarter. That's game 6 Clay. I can't front. Bo Nix in clutch in the fourth quarter and in clutch, boy, that's game 6 Clay. That's third quarter Clay. First half Clay might go 1 for 3. He got 6 points because he hit 1 jumper and made 4 free throws. He got 6 points. But third quarter Clay will give you 35. That's Bo Nix. Game 6 Clay. Game 6 Clay will give you 40 points on 12 dribbles. That's clutch Bo Nix. So Bo Nix really in those critical moments and in the fourth quarter of a lot of these games, because we forget a lot of these, they was 14-3, tied for the best record in the AFC with the Patriots, right? But we forget, half those wins was Bo Nix showing up when the lights was on, boy. And I got to respect it. That's the difference between Bo Nix and Justin Herbert is a far better quarterback than Bo Nix for 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, Bo Nix turned into one of them dudes. And so they don't have that. Because that offense in and of itself is a little underwhelming. Courtland Sutton is a high quality 1B. You would prefer him to be a damn good 2. But he's the 1. You know what I mean? And those results are a little mixed. And then the rest of those young guys, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, you know what I mean? Like they've got some younger pieces over there, Evan Ingram. You know what I mean? They've got, but there's no one really in that offense that really scares anyone. And like I said, that Patriots defense, they playing ball now. Like they playing their best ball. Christian Gonzalez gonna give Courtland Sutton everything he wants today, man. In the other corner as well, so Marcus Jones and those guys, man, hey, these guys, man, they playing ball right now. You know what I mean? And so I do think they're gonna move the ball because Shine is gonna move the ball for sure. I just don't know how many 7s I really think I can really see them getting. I don't know how many 7s they gonna get. And I don't know if RJ Harvey, like I've never seen I'll take that back. Because those early Ingram and Kamara days with Sean Payton, he has shown that he can run an offense with the running game being a critical part, but they haven't done that for the most part. Like that hasn't been how they've operated this year, though. And so I don't know if we're going to do that in this game, in this moment with the Super Bowl on the line against a Patriots defense that's playing their best ball of the year. I don't know if we're going to turn it over to RJ Harvey and possibly J.K. Dobbins fresh off of IR. Like I just don't. That's why I think they a live dog. And I think I said this 2 weeks ago when Bo Nix first got hurt or whenever it was. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know. I think it's not gonna be a cakewalk. They're gonna show up. They're gonna be tough. They at home. Sean Payton's gonna have them boys prepared and ready to go. That defense is gonna show up. But I don't know how many 7s I'm really gonna count on from Jared Stidham. And that's why I gotta go with the young kid, man, the young gun, Drizzy Drake Maye. ZB says, speaking of Mike McDaniel, both on up. Yeah, I seen that offensive coordinator for the Chargers. I like that move too now. I do. I like that move. That's fantastic for Justin Herbert. That's fantastic for Justin Herbert, dog. And also because the thing that makes Mike McDaniel's offense so special, right, is his, like, the player motion. Like, he's got the motions from, like, college and the CFL. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he really started that trend of, like, those wholesale shifts and then, like, fly or zip motions. Like, so all that style of creativity. And I think it's going to play very well with the Chargers because, for one, offensively, and that's one of the things I've talked about on the show as well, like, just their weaponry, they don't have any real deal. Like, nobody scares you on that offense, right? Larry McCarthy, he's a nice solid piece. He can do some things to you, but he's not. Nobody scared of him. Quentin Johnston was a bust 2 years ago. Shout out to Harbaugh for bringing him back from the land of the dead. He was ready, boy. People was retiring him after a season and a half. You know what I mean? But he's not. I like the young guy they drafted out of Ole Miss, Trey. Damn, I can't think of his name, man. Big extra receiver out of Ole Miss. I liked him. Big body guy. But, his rookie, so we'll see what he develops into. But like I said, man, Rondé Gadsden, the tight end they found out of nowhere, who's a stud. But they don't really have just a true bucket getter on that offense. So Mike McDaniel and his offense, what they do schematically and the way they can elevate the talent. You know, like his scheme elevates the talent. Sean Payton's scheme elevates talent. You know what I mean? All offensive coaches don't do that. Kyle Shanahan elevates talent. You see what I'm saying? There's a certain group of guys that are able to actually do that. McDaniel's one of those guys. And so, and with the progress that we've seen with Justin Herbert, just under the tutelage of John Harbaugh, finding a different or a new sense of confidence that I feel like he's playing with. You know what I mean? Like that's a fantastic hire. I think Jonathan Gannon to the Packers and Mike McDaniel to the Chargers are two of probably the two best hires of the offseason this far. You know what I mean? Like that's probably two of the best hires of the offseason so far. Hey, my dog Pretty Tony the penny shot my dog. He said he got Denver slinging that iron today, man. He said, hey, Sean Payton brought the bounties back out. They're gonna have to do something. Like I said, I definitely think they're gonna move the ball. 20-20, I think Sean's gonna move the ball. For sure. I'm just not so sure about Jared getting buckets in the paint, though. You know what I'm saying? 3s and 7s, man. I think it's going to come down to 3s and 7s. I think they may move 20-20, and I think they're going to get 2 more 3s. They're going to get 2 3s in place of 2 7s. You know what I mean? Like, I think they get 2 3s on drives that the Patriots get 2 7s. I think Drake Maye going to find a way to get in the paint. He done shown that. They're going to get in the paint. They're going to find a way to get in the paint for sure. I would think so. ZB said he's going with the Pats. Seeing them phony-ass Broncos packing. Hey, I feel you. Oh, Miles said look for Denver's defense to get a score in this one. Hey, man. I ain't going to put nothing past them now. Because Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper, that's a solid tandem now. They nothing to blink at. Now, they not Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter. I think that them two had 5 sacks between them in the game last week against the Patriots, right? Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter. So Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper, they're not to that level, but they definitely gonna get home now. Because Will Campbell, that rookie left tackle from LSU, he's taking some lumps. And so, you know, they're gonna get home for sure. Now, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen on the inside, some inside pressure. Like, hey man, I can see it. Somebody gets home, strip fumble. Somebody picks it up, takes it to the house. Like I can see it for sure. And I think if Denver wins, I think they'll need it. I think Denver is going to be a premium on touchdowns for Denver, and so I think Denver's going to need a defensive score. I just don't see Jarrett Stidham. I don't see too many. I just don't imagine Jarrett Stidham having 3 touchdown drives in this game. Like, and you know what I mean? We need 3 touchdown drives, man. It's a playoff football. 3 touchdown drives. We got to have them. I don't know if I see that with Jarrett Stidham, man, behind the horn or behind the heel. I don't know if I see him, man, with him behind the trigger. Like I said, I think they'll move the ball, but I see 2. I see 2, and you're going to need 3. So, yeah, Denver's defense getting the score is going to be critical if and when they can. Said Drake may be getting a lot of cupcakes. Sean Payton ain't bailing him out today. I mean, I can't argue against it, dog. CJ Stroud went out there and embarrassed himself, man. That's crazy. So I can't even argue against it, man. 5 turnovers in back-to-back playoff games. You did that to yourself, CJ Stroud. You did that to yourself. Said they Gator rolling boys out there today. They're going to have to. Man, waiting on you. Look, we are out in. Here we go. We on the board. Shout out to my dog. He said he ain't had to go toe-to-toe with Houston's defense. Stroud turned the ball over 5 times. He got 5 extra possessions just for terrible quarterback play. I mean, he did get extra possessions, but, hey, man, Foreman still came out the other corner now. You know what I mean? Like, Foreman still came out the other corner. Because in the game against my Steelers, we had 5 turnovers as well. But we didn't have prime George Foreman coming out the corner throwing lumber. We didn't have heavy lumber coming back, though. So he still had to deal with something serious now. He needed all 5 of them extra chances. For sure. He said one play at the end of the game. Boy, he had 4 interceptions. And he lost a fumble. And Woody Marks lost a fumble. But nah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna get off you. I'm gonna get off y'all, man. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, y'all kick my team's ass, dog. I can't say too much about it. But it wasn't because of CJ Stroud. Shit. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. He cashed in on third down. CJ Stroud on third down ate us alive. Picking on damn Brandon Echols. But nah, that's gonna be. I ain't gonna lie. I can't wait to see that one too, man. That's gonna be a damn good game. I want to see what Jared Stidham and that Broncos offense with Sean Payton do, especially at home with that defense. Like I said, they a live dog. Now I've been saying that from the jump. They definitely a live dog, but I think I'm going with the young gun, man. I think they got a lot of confidence from last week when they did have to go up against that Texans defense. Keyshawn Butte being viable against Derek Stingley Jr. I think that's going to carry some much needed confidence because he's going back to back. Derek Stingley and now Patrick Surtain. He's going to have back to back weeks looking across from the 2 best cornerbacks in football. You know what I mean? And so having success last week does a lot to kind of bolster not only his confidence, but Drake Maye's confidence as well. Because, man, we went against the guy last week. We took our shots and we cashed one in. And so I think that plays well, man. Like I said, that Patriots defense is playing their best ball, I think, as well this season. Because they had more or less kind of underwhelmed a little bit. And I think they're playing some of their best ball. Let me see now. Moving on. In tonight's finale, the Rams, Los Angeles Rams 5 seed on the road against the number 1 seed Seattle Super Seahawks in a grudge match. Did y'all split? Y'all went 1-1? Yeah, I think y'all went 1-1. Sam Darnold pissed the bed that first game. I think he had 4 interceptions, and they still lost that game by 3 points on the road. Second game in Seattle, that one also has some controversy now. That was still a nip and tuck game. Seattle got they got that lucky touchdown on the ball was dead in the end zone. Somebody came and recovered it. It ended up being a touchdown or a 2-point conversion or, you know what I'm saying, whatever it was. And so these games have came down to the wire for sure. Now, the one thing I would say is I think since that last Rams game, and they did find a way to win that one, since that game, that defense has took another step. That Seahawks defense has took another step since that last Rams game, right? I think definitely so. Leonard Williams is playing out of his mind right now. Devon Witherspoon is still one of them ones. Dog. You know what I mean? Like, they still, yeah, that, the young kid, Nick Emmanwori, the safety nickel, flies around, does everything. Mike McDonald puts him in a lot of, like, he's playing that Kyle Hamilton style role, that star style role, that Derwin James style role, right? And man, he's a player. Like, they've got Ernest Jones is one of the more underrated linebackers in football. And matter of fact, I think he was a Ram. Yeah. Seahawks got Ernest Jones from the Rams. Ernest Jones is playing ball, man. Ernest Jones very well. And matter of fact, I ain't released my all-pro teams yet, man, but he's going to get some consideration. Ernest Jones is playing damn good ball, man. That Seahawks defense is looking different right now. And here's another thing as well. I feel like the Rams peaked a little early. I don't think the Rams have quite looked their strongest this last month of the season. And I think a lot of that started with the upset in the regular season against the Panthers. Now, at the time, I think we just looked at it and said they were overlooking, they just looked past them, man. It was the Panthers. Panthers wasn't on nothing. I think the Panthers was like 7-7 at the time, right? And so I think maybe they just looked over them and went in there and got shot, got hit in the mouth, got shot. But they ran it back in the playoffs, jumped out 14-0. Panthers came back, took the lead in that game in the fourth. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was a real deal life and death game for the Rams after being up 14-0 right out the gate. And let's not forget, the first touchdown, Dave Canales and those Panthers went for it on fourth down on like they own 40. And I wasn't mad at the call when they did it because we the underdog, we at home. We going against a big dog. We got to go for broke. So I was a fan of the call. It didn't work out. They turned the ball over, and the Rams cashed in a quick 7 right out the gate. 14-0, down. And so The Panthers, though, man, man, look, that was a real deal. That was a real deal fight for the Rams' life right there. Then I see them last week against the Bears. And I'm not going to lie. I said it when I was watching the game. I made a quick little reel. Bro, Bears would look to be the better team on that field, dog. The Bears look to be the better team. Now, they got their own way. The Bears did the same thing they've done all year. They dug themselves a hole. This one was too deep to get out of. We also had a controversial call in that one. We spent last week, we was talking about, and shout out the homeboy from the Broncos that was in here last week. What's cuz name? But we talked about the controversial interception where the ball was stripped away from Brandon Cooks as he's going to the ground with full possession, knee, hip, all these things on the ground. And the Broncos guy takes the ball from him as they're rolling over, and it's an interception. Well, in the Bears-Rams game, we had the same play from Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams catches a ball, goes to the ground, his knee hits the ground. Before he can roll over and stand up again with the ball, the Bears take the ball away. Now, this one, the catch was completed, no turnover. The one in Buffalo, catch not completed, Denver Broncos ball. So, it took that to get out of Chicago. It took that to get out of Chicago. With Chicago, man, look, they passed up 2 field goals in the first half. Going for it inside their own 50, like they want to do. Caleb Williams still threw 3 interceptions, turning the ball over, like he's want to do. And with all of that, the man probably made the greatest throw we've seen in the last decade. He threw a 14-yard touchdown pass that traveled 50 yards in the air. The man ran backwards 30 yards running for his life and then threw a 52-yard laser beam for a 14-yard touchdown that got that game to overtime. Boy, y'all better thank God they ain't go for 2. Thank God they ain't go for 2. And matter of fact, me and my dog Miles and Loke, we was talking about it last night. Like, boy, if they'd have went for 2, they could have stole y'all heart right there. I said, man, look, even Ben Johnson said, nah, we probably pushing our luck a little bit, man. We got to go ahead and kick this one. Let's go ahead and kick this extra point. Even Ben Johnson was like, yeah, I can't push it no further, man. We done pushed it as far as we can. You know what I mean? And so, like, I don't feel like the Rams are quite, I think it feels like they peaked a little early. Because the Rams, around like week 9 through 12, boy, they was on another level. They look to be on another level. I think they've kind of settled back in. They still damn good. Now, I'm not saying it's a cakewalk at all. I'm not at all trying to say that. But I do feel like they peaked a little earlier, and I think the Seahawks peaked at the better time. The Seahawks really peaked in week 16, 17. You know what I mean? They peaked right there at the end. They went into the postseason peaking. And I think the Rams peaked a little early, and then they tapered off just a little bit. But they still the Rams, and they still a quality team. Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua playing outside of his mind. Right? Devontae been a little quiet coming back off the injury. And even if we think about his season, he was a touchdown merchant. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but he was a red zone threat. Buckets in the paint. That's what he did. But from the 20 to the 20, he ain't really got off like that. He ain't really got off like that all season between the 20s. But in the paint, I can still go get that. I can still go get a bucket for sure. I think he missed, 3 out of the last 4 games? I think he still finished second in the league in touchdown receptions, if not number 1. So, there's that for sure. But I don't know, man. I just feel like Seattle's peaking at the right time, man. That defense took another step forward. And honestly, the offense for Seattle has slowed down quite a bit. But part of that's been necessity. They haven't needed to go out there and drop 30 because that defense been parking boys. Boys been going to Seattle and getting parked. Hard stop. Emergency break. You know what I mean? And so the offense really, they've had a lot of time to just kind of be mellow. Hold on, my dog Reggie trying to take. Look, I know he probably want to talk about the game. It's showtime. Hold on. Yeah, man. Y'all know what's going on. Sunday, man. It's game day. Y'all know where we at. Tap on in with your dog. But so I think that Seattle Seahawks offense has gotten a chance to they haven't had to try to maintain that 120-mile-an-hour pace that they had. And they found a little running game now. That running game is finally coming along a little bit. Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet been toting that thing now. They've been toting that thing. And so that also bodes well. Rashid Shaheed, my dog Chop tried to tell me about Rashid Shaheed like 3 years ago. Shout out to my dog Chop. Chop was telling me about Rashid Shaheed. I bullshit you not like 3 years ago, bro. And now he's Percy Harvin now. He's liable to bring one back. You see what I'm saying? So, bro, I ain't gonna lie. These Seahawks look damn scary. And going to Seattle, that building, that 12th man, and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, that's a tall order. That's a tall order for anybody. That's a tall order, dog. I gotta go with the Seahawks. I think that's gonna be a damn good game, though. All the games, both the games we saw between these two games in the regular season were fantastic. I don't expect this one to disappoint at all. I'm going 27-24 Seattle to get this done, man. I think this is gonna be a damn good game. Shout out to my dog ZB, man. He said he ride with them Hawks today, too. Let's go. My dog Chop, what he got for you? He said, I'm here to tell you, they still the same old Darnold-led Seahawks. Hey, and that's fair now. Sam Darnold, he has shown that for whatever reason, call it Justin Herbert syndrome, but he turns back into a pumpkin in the fourth quarter. He does. The fourth quarter of the season and the fourth quarter of some of these close games. He turns back to a pumpkin. I don't know what it is. But also, Chop, this is a thing about it as well. Don't forget, they done found a little running game now. So now, if that running game is still going to be viable, now there's less pressure on Sam Darnold to feel like he's got to go out there and be Patty Mahomes. You know what I mean? And with that defense playing the way they playing, I saw that Bears defense give y'all Rams hell. That Bears defense gave y'all Rams hell, man. Real talk, they did. And honestly, they had one bad call in that game. On the fourth, I think it was like 3rd and 5. They were sending the all out. They were sending a zero pressure because they had success with that zero pressure, but the corners played off. It's 3rd and 5. We got a zero pressure, and the corner's at 8 yards, man. I called it out. I think I mentioned it in the group chat. I'm like, bro, what was that call? What are we doing? If we got a zero pressure on the biggest play of the game right now, 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 5, and I got corners with their ankles at 8 yards. It's bad football. That's bad technique. And they hadn't played it that way earlier in the game because they had success with that strong pressure. You got to get the boy chest when we're doing that because we forcing the ball out. Who was really scared about Devontae taking us 40 up the sideline? He ain't did it all year. He ain't did it enough all year. And Puka's the truth. Puka's the truth for sure. I want to make him do that though. Don't give Puka a free release to get a quick, cheap little 5-yard in. What are we doing? You know what I mean? But outside of that play call, I saw the Bears get y'all Rams. I saw the Bears get them Rams hell. Bears defense ain't this Seahawks defense at all. This Seahawks defense, boy, they trying to be the Legion of Boom too. They playing with a different type of nasty right now. You know what I mean? And so, hey, man, I'm not gonna lie. It feels like the Seahawks is peaking at the right time. And now Sam Darnold, getting back to the original statement, Sam Darnold, he's being bolstered now by a fantastic defense. That's the best defense left in the playoffs. The Texans gone. Seahawks defense is next one up for me. I'm going Seahawks defense over Broncos defense, personally. The way they playing, Mike McDonald, what he got going on, that's what I'm rocking. You know what I mean? And they done found a little running game now. So, hey, man, that means less work for Sam Darnold. It's less work. My dog ZB said he said he got to let y'all know, man, he had a perfect NFC bracket, and he picked the Hawks today. Boy, I hope you made a little money, ZB. I hope you made a little money, bruh. I hope you made a little money, dog. Hey, my dog Pretty Tay said, welcome to the dark side of the Rams and chop. Ram chops. Ah! The Ram chops. He said the play wasn't the same. You got to know the rules. Bruh, now look. It was more similar than it was. It was more similar than not. It wasn't it wasn't exactly the same, but it was more similar than not. And especially like there's been more footages and steals and slow downs and boom, 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 showing like the different elements of Brandon Cooks making that catch. And I'm not gonna lie, man, the more and more I saw about it, I was like, yeah, it felt like a little home cookie. The more and more I keep seeing about it, bro, the more and more I seen, they got some steals that came out like after the fact, especially when the Rams one with the Bears, and then I saw like a side by side where the steals were like playing through. And man, look, I ain't gonna lie. But the point being is that style of 50-50 call or whatnot, because if the referees from the Denver Buffalo game might have been in this game calling that one, then who knows how that call would have went. I'm just saying it was close enough. I'm not trying to count y'all out at all, though. Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford ain't laying down for nobody. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't count y'all out, but just going into it, like, I definitely think, I mean, y'all the underdog on the road. I don't think it ain't nothing crazy to say the underdog road team. You know, the road team is the underdog. That ain't a wild statement to say. Now, not to say that y'all don't have a shot to win this game at all. No, I definitely think so. But I'm just saying, I think the Seahawks are peaking now, and I think y'all peaked a little soon. Y'all still the Rams. Y'all still who y'all are. Y'all still ain't no slouch at all. You know what I mean? It ain't y'all fault that Chicago pissed in the wind. You know what I'm saying? You spit in the wind, it's coming right back at you. That ain't on y'all. That's on Chicago. You know what I mean? And just like you just said about Chicago and y'all, I'm going to say that when you said about the Texans and the Patriots. It ain't their fault CJ Stroud was pissing in the wind. Hey, man, we handle business. I ain't tell you to spit in the wind. So I ain't going to take no credit from Drake Maye for CJ Stroud's 5 turnovers. And I ain't going to take too much credit from y'all, from the Bears, Caleb Williams 3 turnovers. And Ben Johnson passing up 2 chip shot field goals. You know what I mean? In a game that went to overtime in your building. You know what I mean? Hey, man, y'all didn't do it. Y'all didn't make that bed. Y'all just laid in it. And y'all handled y'all business. But it's going to be a good game, boy. I'm telling you, we got some good matchups. Said he threw for over 400 last time we played. So what they look like out the window. He did. But again, I think this Seahawks defense they hit another gear. This Seahawks defense, they hit another gear. It really feels like that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. He said, can they please find a way to get the ball in Shaheed's hands more than like 3 times a game? Man, that's a fair ask, man. That's a very fair ask. And honestly, I mean, because even in that last matchup, JSM was he shut out in the first half, or he only had like 1 catch in the first half of that game? Now he finished that game, I think he had like 6 for 112 or something like that. 6 or 7 catches for like 110, 120 yards. And he did all that in the second half, I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly. But ZB's right, man. They got to find a way to get him more involved. For sure. Because in the return game, for sure, I think he's going to impact the game in the return game. Because honestly, I don't know if you're going to risk kicking it to him. And if you kick it out of bounds, now you get the ball on the 35. You know what I mean? So, it's, you know what I'm saying? So they should have reasonable field position all game at home in their building. So he's going to have an impact on this game. And like you said, it may not register in just pure touches, but field position for sure. Because if you kick it to him, you got to be worried about him bringing it back out. You know what I mean? And going crib. And if you don't kick it to him, you guaranteeing short fields for the Seahawks all day at home in their building. You know what I mean? And so, and then also, like you said as well, depending on the type of attention that JSN gets, Do we got to cash in? Do the Seahawks cash in on that big one to Shaheed? You know what I mean? When they've got JSN on some type of deep dig, does he pull that front side safety to come jump on it to try to cut that dig off? Now do we get Shaheed over the top with that big post? You know what I mean? Like, do we get that action? And do we cash in on it when that opportunity shows up? When it gets to that point? Because Emmanuel Forbes, respectfully, that ain't it, big dog. That ain't it. I love the safeties for the Rams, though. Cam Kitchens was my number one safety when he came into the league out of Miami, I want to say 2 years ago. He was my top safety. Cam Curl, I really liked when he was in Washington. I wanted Cam Curl to go to Pittsburgh when he was leaving Washington. He went to the Rams. So I've been a fan of his for sure as well. You know what I mean? So I do like those. I like those safeties. I don't like the corners at all. For sure. Let me see. My dog Cha said the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. How y'all sound rooting for Darnold and the Seahawks? I mean, what you saying? Y'all didn't sweep them. Y'all split. And then in the one y'all won, the man threw 4 interceptions. And that game went to the fourth quarter, you won by 3. It's not crazy. It's not crazy to say that the Seahawks may have been the better team in both those matchups. What's that game look like if Sam Darnold doesn't try to pull a CJ Stroud and throw the ball to the other team 4 times? What's that game look like then? So it's not crazy at all. You know what I mean? It's not crazy at all, dog. You know, to think that the Seahawks may have y'all numbered in they building, right? The toughest, if not the toughest, probably the toughest stadium to play in. Probably the toughest stadium to play in they building, with arguably the best defense left in the playoffs. Like, bruh, it's not crazy. That's not a wild take at all. But because also keep in mind, it's bigger than just Darnold. That defense, they done found that running game, and Darnold may not have to outgun Matthew Stafford. Like, I think, like, Matthew Stafford might need all 400 of them yards you just talked about. Is he going to get 400 against today's Seahawks? Not the one back then. Is he going to get 400 against today's Seahawks? I don't know, dog. You going to tell me Kyren Williams and Blake Corum going to run the ball up and down the field to keep some pressure off of Stafford? I don't know, dog. I don't know. Now, Puka's going to be a problem, regardless. Puka's one of those guys, man. Puka one of them ones. It ain't going to be too much you can do. Puka's going to get his. Puka's going to get somewhere between 8 and 12 touches. Puka's going to get somewhere between, I don't see him going less than 100. So that means he's going to get 8 to 12 for at least a honey bun. If you told me Puka's stat line was anywhere from 8 to 12 catches and anywhere from 1 to 200 yards, I believe you. Because he's Puka. You know what I mean? He one of them guys. I got to respect it. He one of them ones. He might do that. But I don't see Blake Corum and Kyren Williams. I don't see them giving enough of a reprieve to slow down that aggressive Seahawks defense from coming after Matthew Stafford. Because the Bears just showed me last week we can get to Stafford. We can get to him. We can definitely get to him. And right, he ain't got that same wiggle in that pocket like he did once upon a time. And this Seahawks defense is ultra aggressive. They've got pass. They do a good job schematically where they bring their pressure from. Leonard Williams on the interior is an animal. I want to see him and Kevin Dotson duke it out today. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to see it. I mean, y'all know I love watching the trenches anyway. You know what I mean? Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, I want to see what they're going to do with that Seahawks offensive line, because I think that's where the trench battle. I think the Rams defensive front, I like y'all defensive front over the Seahawks offensive line, but also, like, y'all don't really have like a true blue dominant rusher. Jared Verse is a very powerful run defender for sure. He's got a damn strong bull rush, the same thing he had when he come out of Florida State, but he's not necessarily just a true deal, purebred pass rusher though. You know what I mean? And so he definitely makes his presence felt for sure, collapsing the pocket, creating pressure, overpowering a tackle, getting home for sure, a menace in the run game, right? For the most part. But I don't know if y'all got like just a true blue, real deal, purebred, just rusher. Braden Fisk, very quick, twitchy, explosive interior defensive lineman for sure. Byron Young on the other side, he's a 10-sack guy. You know what I mean? Kobe Turner. I like Kobe Turner. You know what I mean? The young gun used to be next to Aaron Donald. He's still there, captain on that defense. You know what I mean? So y'all got a lot of it's a lot of very good parts, but I don't necessarily think y'all got like one just guy that can just take over and just, you know what I mean? Like a real closer. That's what y'all didn't have in Chicago. A real closer. That's why Caleb Williams can scramble 30 yards backwards and then throw a 50-yard pass to complete a 14-yard touchdown. You know what I mean? Like, y'all ain't got like a real deal closer on that defense. But it is a very talented defense. Chris Shula, like I said, I thought Chris Shula was going to be my next head coach. So I like what y'all do there for sure. And I like those pieces. I do like those pieces, but I just don't know if y'all got a real deal closer. ZB said Darnold been saving up his juice. He got one more in him. Hey, you might be right. He overdue for one. I tell you that. He definitely overdue for one. Hey, matter of fact, hey, ain't nobody dropped me no scores on thing, man. I ain't seen a score yet. I'm going Seahawks 27-24. I think it's going to be a damn good game, man. I really do. I definitely think it's going to be a damn good game. I think the difference may be Seattle looks like they found a running game, or their running game is finally kind of hitting here of late, right? Because I only want to talk about what have you done for me lately. This is what have you done for what have you done for me lately league. Man, I can't even talk. This is a what have you done for me lately league. And lately, Kenneth Walker been toting the peel. 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, yeah, it was against a beat-up Niners team. That's the same Niners team that won 12 games this year and went to the divisional. Went on the road and beat the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champs. So I ain't gonna knock them down now. That's a talented team. That's you know what I'm saying? So what have we done for me lately? That defense playing like the best defense in football lately. That run game looking viable lately. You know what I mean? Like, hey. ZB said, oh man, that's crazy. Hell no. Hell no. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see, my dog Chop said he's got Rams 27-23. I definitely think that's the type of score we're going to get, man. I think like 27-24, 27-23. I almost entertained 30-24. I ain't going to lie, man. I entertained it. I was like, nah. I had to knock it down a little bit. 27-24, 27-23. I did. I got you. ZB said 70 to 0. That's crazy. Hell no. But now I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I mean, that's it. That's all. We only had 2 games. I mean, we only had 2 games. Unless we got something else to talk about, man, y'all better speak now or hold your peace. You know what I mean? Y'all better speak now or hold your peace. You know what I mean? I don't see too many of my boxing heads in here. You know what I'm saying? We had a good fight last night. Andy Crees and Raymond Talia, excuse me. That ended up being a damn good fight. I got to go back and rewatch it. I had to watch a couple of the clips and the highlights, but I got to go back and rewatch it sometime today or tomorrow for sure. But by all accounts, damn good fight. Raymond Talia retained his IBF 135-pound championship, I want to say. From what I could tell, what it sounds like, man, Andy Cruz just faded down the stretch. Just didn't have that championship pedigree, man. Or not, well, no, he's an Olympic champion. But in the pros, like, he just hasn't really been tested. It was his first 12-round fight, I believe, and it's a championship fight. But, yeah, I can't wait to go see that. We got Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez next weekend. That's going to be a big one. I've been promising a bonus box episode all year. We gonna have one, man. Especially football's winding down. Ain't that much left to talk about. We're gonna have a break after today's games anyway for the Super Bowl. So yeah, y'all can book it. We can counter that. Y'all can book it, man. It's gonna be a boxing show in that downtime between this AFC Championship and NFC Championship and the Super Bowl for sure. And that's gonna time up good, man, because we'll be able to talk about that Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez fight that's gonna happen next Saturday. And so yeah, man, y'all gotta have to tap in with your dog. But like I said, man, other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wind it down unless I got something else to talk about. But before we do, y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real member roll call. One more time from the top. First one in the door today was Mom Dukes. Have a blessed show as always. I appreciate you. Let me see. Sis was in the building. Said good morning to the good people. Let's see. My dog, man, Chop, hold it down for those Rams in the building. Said y'all know what time it is, man. Y'all know what he came to do. My dog, ZB, man, favorite coworker in the building as well. You know, I appreciate your homeboy. Let me see, my dog, Terrible Time Walker, holding it down for them Houston Texans. Letting y'all know that the Texans is still going to the Super Bowl. He was in this thing as well, man. You know, I appreciate your homeboy. Let me see, my dog, man. Pretty Tony the Printer, man. That's my dog, man. Prospect Precision Peyton across all platforms, man. Y'all done heard me say it before. So guess what? I'm going to say it again. Man, he based out of the greater Atlanta area, but it's 2026. I don't want to hear about it, man. Planes, trains, and automobiles. My dog can get to you, man. That's Prospect Precision Paint across all social media platforms. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself, man. You tired of looking at them cracked ass walls in your mama house? You tired of looking at the paint chipped in your bedroom right now? Holla at my dog. Prospect and Precision Painting across all platforms, man. I appreciate your homeboy. And then, man, let me see the rest of y'all, man. Y'all know what's going on. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. Damn. Say the same thing every week. Feel free. Say it with me at home. If I forgot to say your name, damn, ain't my bad. But charge it to my head and don't charge it to my heart. You know I'm thinking about you, big dog. I appreciate all the love, support as always, man. Y'all know the same old spiel, man. I say it every time because I mean it. I appreciate y'all coming in here rocking with your dog, man. Y'all can ask my partners, man. Ask my dog Chop. Ask my dog Miles. Ask my dog Tom. Ask anybody that know me personally. If it's one thing I'm going to do is talk football, man. I could be here talking ball to myself, and instead y'all came in here to talk ball with me, man. So I appreciate y'all for sure. Everybody have fun, be safe, especially if you in one of these areas like myself, man, where this weather then took a turn for the worse. I'm down here in Texas in the winter wonderland, man. I didn't move to Texas for this, but it's all good, man. Y'all have fun today. Y'all be safe. Enjoy your family, man. Enjoy your loved ones. Y'all see what's going on in the world. Other than that, we'll be back Wednesday, man. We're going to recap today's action. We'll talk about, we'll probably do a little speculating on the Super Bowl and see what's going on there, man. We'll try to find a way to keep it light and have a little fun. But until then, y'all have fun, be safe, enjoy yourselves. Peace.